He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken. Podcast.
We can agree on this, Ronnie. We both like half my face.
We both like half my face.
Another edition. A good edition. Another edition of the.
Stop. Redo it. Hey everybody, this is Blake, and today we're gonna do the best and worst of Smokey and the Bandit. No, that's not us either. Edit. All right, back to you, Ronnie.
We're talking Smokey and the Bandit, so hang tight. Blake, we absolutely, and by we I mean me, I love this movie. Hold on. I love.
Oh my God! It gets added to the collection of the only movies we reviewed on this channel.
I freaking love Smokey and the Bandit. I love Burt Reynolds. I'm finna get a Burt Reynolds behind me, Blake, smiling because I want the Bandit over my shoulder at all times. Smokey and the Bandit is a movie that should not work.
You some bitch.
In theory, this movie should be absolutely horrible, but it's great. And it's not great because of the writing. It's not great because of the story. It's great because Burt Reynolds and Jackie Gleason.
I got that some bitch, and I got him with his fly open.
This movie is absolutely freaking Southern-tastic, Blake.
This movie is right up there, Ronnie. It is absolutely wonderful, and I don't think it's a movie that can be touched as far as remakes and stuff like that because it came out at the perfect time. I mean, you know, with the law the way it was, with Coors and bootlegging and no cell phones and the way people communicated with CBs and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a perfect timepiece movie. And you know, the fact that you read on IMDb and other websites that Jackie Gleason and Burt Reynolds pretty much ad-libbed everything. I mean, that makes it even better. There's no slow parts in this movie. It's just wide open. And it goes by so fast, and the characters are great. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The car chase scenes
are great.
Are amazing. The comedy is there. The love is there.
I've got this really quickly. If you've never seen Smokey and the Bandit, what is your problem? You have to go watch Smokey and the Bandit. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But Hal Needham, the director of the movie, the writer of the movie, here's why he chose Coors Beer. And I'm reading this from some website on the internet, so this is not my original content. Needham came up with the idea for the film after he learned that transporting Coors Beer east of the Mississippi was bootlegging and a crime. In 1974, an article in Time magazine explained why Coors was so sought after that people would pay such a high price for it. It had a lack of stabilizers and preservatives in the beer. The article explains that Vice President Gerald Ford hid Coors in his luggage after a trip to Colorado to take it back to Washington. Eisenhower had a steady supply airlifted to Washington by the Air Force. The lack of additives and preservatives in the beer meant that Coors had the potential for spoiling in a week if it was not kept cold throughout its transportation. This explains why the 28-hour deadline that the Bandit was on. If they don't get the beer back to Big and Little Enos Burdett, the beer is going to go bad. Like the guy in the Can't Hardly Wait said, the beer has gone bad.
It's terrible. Nobody drink the beer. The beer has gone bad.
Charlie Corsmo. Yeah, that I'm glad you read that because I thought the whole time limit deal was because that's when the race was going to end. And they needed the beer to celebrate. You know, I thought that was the whole gimmick is when his racer wins, they want to celebrate in style. How much style? I got a few friends and me, 400 cases.
That's a lot of friends. So let's get into it, Blake. We both love the movie. Blake, what is your good when it comes to Smokey and the Bandit? Or would you like me to start?
My first good is going to be the soundtrack, Ronnie. And, you know, it's pretty much done by Jerry Reed. The whole soundtrack is done by Jerry Reed. Eastbound and Down, Rolled Up and Truckin'. We're going to do what they say can't be done.
We got a long way to go
And a short time to get there.
I'm eastbound, just watch old
Come on,
bandit
Bandit
run.
Road. I love it. Golly, it's so good. I talked to you on the phone earlier. The song starts off westbound and down, which obviously they're headed west to pick up the beer, but no one ever sings that part of the song, Ronnie. It's always the chorus and all. They only care about the way back. They don't care about the journey on the way there. Why is that? What do you think?
I think Eastbound and Down is the way that is the song that they promoted it, and Westbound and Down was just for the movie, that little section of the movie.
Yeah.
So the whole song is Eastbound and Down. So that's probably.
And
why
we get some love songs by Jerry Reed whenever
they call him the Bandit. That's all I know.
we're gonna get flagged if you keep playing actual clips of the song, Ronnie.
Hey, what's new?
But yeah, that's my first good is the soundtrack.
My first good, the characters. The characters in this movie are iconic. You've got Burt Reynolds, Bo Darville, is that his name, Blake? The Bandit. He is a legendary truck driver and speed racer all throughout the South. We're introduced at the very beginning of the movie. They pull over a trucker who has Coors Beer, and they explain you the plot right away. What are you doing, dummy? Don't you know Big and Enos Burdett has made this bet with every trucker on the West Coast or East Coast, whatever they said.
And that means, you dumb cowboy, don't you know hauling beer across this Georgia line's bootlegging? I'll see these two fellas put me up to it.
Yeah. And they cut straight to Big and Little Enos Burdett, who are hilarious to look at because one of them's about 6'5" and the other one's 2 foot tall.
Coors Beer. You take that east of Texas, and that's bootlegging.
And it's practically us, if you want to be honest. I mean, let's be real, honey. Like them boys tell you, keep it real. Let's keep it real. Me and you are Big Enos, Louise Burdett.
We ought to be Big and Little Enos Burdett at Halloween.
At P45.
So there you go.
Why aren't there Smokey and the Bandit conventions?
There should be Smokey and the Bandit conventions every year.
All over the South. They should be just like the Big Lebowski thing. There should be Smokey and the Bandit conventions. People drive their Trans Ams up there. They wear the red shirt, the cowboy hat.
Yeah,
and you could be there as the Burdettes. Everybody's
talking about trans rights. What about Trans Am rights, baby?
What's your pleasure?
Trans Am.
Yeah, let me tell you, the only trans.
It is.
And you could take that to the bank. $80,000.
$80,000.
So you've got Burt Reynolds playing the Bandit, and he's holed up at this trucker race. And these people are paying him $20 a day so his loyal fans can get a look at him. And if you look at the card there's all kind of funny things to look at when he's laying there in the hammock. Is it says $1.25 for a picture with the Bandit, and then it's marked through and it says 75 cents underneath it. And it was like, get an autograph from the Bandit free after you pay for a picture. So everybody knows who the Bandit is, which I could argue he's going to damn prison after he does all this because everybody knows who the Bandit is. There's no way for him to get away. But he is a great character, and the Burdettes challenge him. You can't make it over to Texarkana and back here to Atlanta in 28 hours, and he takes the bet. Jerry Reed as the snowman who's driving the truck. He's great. Fred the dog. And then you got Jackie Gleason and Jr.
Put the evidence in it back.
Who are absolutely fantastic in this movie. Junior is a low-key MVP of this movie.
Oh, he is.
Because he's right. He is the slow, dim-witted. We don't even know if he's slow and dim-witted. He never gets to talk, and Jackie Gleason just dominates him. You turkey. And he's hammering his ass the entire movie, and he's just sitting there looking at him. Great scenes with all of them. And then it's just what you think it is. Jackie Gleason chasing after Sally Field, who shows up because she jumps in the car with the Bandit, and it's a 28-hour race from Texarkana back to Atlanta. Will they make it? Cops chase them the whole way, all kind of crazy hijinks. So the characters are most definitely a good in this movie.
I agree.
You got any more good?
Yeah, it's gonna be the relationships, and you kind of touched on one of them. The relationship between Sheriff Justice and his son Junior. How there's not a lot of love there. The love is one sided. Junior loves his dad, respects his dad, and Sheriff Justice questions whether or not it's really his son.
There's no way that you could come from my loins.
because of the stuff he says. But yeah, I mean, as a kid, I laughed so hard at these interactions, and as an adult, it's even funnier to me. I mean, he's driving, he's done got himself aggravated, he's talking to himself. Nobody makes Sheriff Justice look like a possum's pecker. And then Junior comes in and says, except for that, and he goes, "Shut your ass." I mean, it's just great. He's going on a rant about Sally Field leaving. He's mad because he wasted $40 decorating the whole town for this wedding, and he lets go of the wheel. And Junior reaches over and grabs the wheel. And goes, "Let go of that wheel, Daddy. Who's gonna hold your hat?" I mean, they're coming up on a wreckage, and seriously, they're about to die. They're gonna die.
Doctor, you're gonna be talking out of your ass.
They're about to hit a steel beam, and the last thing he says to his son, "Duck, or you're going to be talking out your ass." And it takes the top of the car smooth off, Ronnie. I mean, it would have killed him, and they don't even stop. They keep going. They don't even stop to assess the damage that they just caused or may have caused. He just hauls ass in pursuit of the bandit. I mean, it's so good. They're interrupting funeral processions. It's just great. And then when you get into the relationship of the snowman and the bandit and how good of friends they are, and the movie starts off, you touch base on the twins offering Burt Reynolds $80,000 to run this gig. He immediately goes to the snowman's house, wakes him up, and you can tell they've got into some trouble before because the wife immediately tries to stop him from coming in. Wife low-key hot too, by the way. I think they did her up like Ethel in Friday 13th Part 5 for a reason. But yeah, I think if you throw a little sundress on that, get rid of that hairdo, there's something there. But he wakes Clay to something, goes, "Look, we're finna make what we gotta do, get at the Pope or something." Which makes you wonder what kind of stuff have they been into in the past. I mean, they mentioned they went to jail,
I may have done you wrong in the past.
Right. But I mean, it took him 5 minutes to convince him, and 10 minutes later, he's dressed and putting his dog in the truck, about to go. But the only difference is, and Jerry kind of lets it slip. He's like, "So I guess we ain't riding in the truck together this time." So can you imagine the movie if they were both riding in the truck? I mean, that's just
great.
nuts. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so to finish, in conclusion, my second good is going to be the relationships between all the characters. I left out the relationship between Sally Field and Burt Reynolds, but I'll add another bonus one in: the relationship between the bandit and everyone else on that CB, because everyone else on that CB respects him and loves him and is rooting for him, and they're giving him a heads up of where the Smokies are, where the roadblocks are, where there's traffic jams at. So everybody's rooting for the bandit. It's really well done.
My last good is the car chase scenes. They're absolutely fantastic. There's so much fun in these car chase scenes, and it's not anything too unrealistic. I know the bandit jumps a bridge that's not finished, and that's probably the most unrealistic stunt in the entire movie. But the car chase scenes, Jackie Gleason car chase, chasing the bandit the whole time, the way he drives, and the wreck that his car becomes over the course of the movie as his car evolves into a piece of crap. The motorcycle cops, just a ton of great driving. Whoever the stunt driver was in the Trans Am, excellent job, and it makes everybody want to get a Trans Am if you watch this movie. But the stunt driving it is so great. It doesn't look stupid. It looks like somebody's filming people just racing, and I love every bit of that.
My last one, Ronnie, is how quotable this movie is. I heard it from someone else when we were talking about Roadhouse, but I'm going to use it for this movie. Every line to me in this movie is a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And Sheriff Justice, hold up on that car wash, gentlemen. There's no way that you came from my loins. As soon as I get home, I'm gonna punch your mama in the mouth. There are so many one-liners. Let me get a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a hurry.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich, a Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
It makes me really want to do a deep dive on Jackie Gleason because if I'm being perfectly honest, Ronnie, I only know Jackie Gleason from this movie. I know he was in that famous TV show, I think The Honeymooners or whatever. I didn't really get into that. Really, I only know about The Honeymooners just because of Back to the Future.
Yeah, I know, parents used to watch it all the time, Blake, but you were too young to remember it. They used to watch it every night, The Honeymooners.
Now, when I was in the oil field, I used to do a deep dive like into old stuff like the Carol Burnett show and Laugh In and stuff like that. And I did go down a rabbit hole of watching Jackie Gleason do like Tonight shows and stuff like that. And the guy was just always on, man. Golly, he was just such a. I feel like he's one of these guys that you wish was born like 20 years later. So we could have got like a full 80s and 90s run with Jackie Gleason. I mean, just in all those movies, but it is what it is.
My last good, and it ties back into what my first good was. There's a scene where Burt Reynolds loses the cop at night, and he watches the cop drive off, and he pulls up a little bit, and he turns and looks at the camera and just smiles at the audience, and he drives off. And I think that is the only clip you needed for a trailer for this movie, because that sums up this movie perfectly. It's Burt Reynolds having fun being Burt Reynolds in this movie. Fantastic characters, fantastic movie. All right, Blake, what is your bad? Do you have any?
This is one of those movies where you really gotta scrape, Ronnie. You gotta scrape the sides to try to find something. And I know this is gonna sound weird coming from me, but let's talk about the hair in this movie. The bandit, Burt Reynolds, takes off his hat, and he only takes his hat off for one reason. And if you know that reason, then you was probably underneath him.
What's the kids say? If you know, you know.
You know. When he takes his hat off, the best way I could describe it is just 70s. I mean, it's just 70s. I was disappointed as a kid. I'm still disappointed as an adult. Costanza mentioned on Seinfeld, the first time you take that hat off, the reaction you get is just, is so depressing. And the reaction I got when Bandit took his hat off and we get a huge comb over that starts right here and goes all the way to here. Not so much here. Black Sheep reference. Tommy Boy reference, I mean. Jerry Reed is rocking the curly stuff, the Hercules Hernandez hair.
Yep.
Jackie Gleason and his son Junior both have awful hair.
Jackie Gleason's got the greasy gray hair. Junior's got some pretty good hair, but
I mentioned Jerry Reed's wife's hair at the beginning. She's got the whole wife. What are they called? The curling things, Ronnie?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Nicolas Cage's hair, he's in this movie. He's the one who's hold up on that car wash, gentlemen. He's rocking a terrible haircut too. So
Ban one, Banone. All right, he's gone. Let's go. History behind Buford T. Justice. Like when he rolls up on that car and those guys are stripping the tires and everything off of it, he's like, hold up on that car wash, gentlemen. They know who he is, and he drives off, and they could leave and get away, but they know his history, and they're like, "Nah, hell, I ain't going nowhere. You can do what you want. I'm staying right here till they get arrested." So it just shows you what a legendary law enforcement officer he is in Texas. And
listen here, you tick turd.
That leads into my only bad of this movie, and you're going to start laughing. Sally Field.
Knew it.
Sally Field is absolutely not needed for this movie. Now, people in the comments could argue without Sally Field, Buford T. Justice would not be chasing Burt Reynolds. And that is true. she left the wedding. She's marrying Junior for whatever reason you don't know, which leads me to believe that Junior's not real slow. He was able to get Sally Field to marry him. She abandons Junior on her wedding day, and she's getting the heck out of there, and her car breaks down, and she flags down Burt Reynolds, who she jumps in the car with, and now that's why Buford T. Justice is pursuing the bandit, is because he's got the chick that wasted his $40. But every scene other than the introduction of Sally Field, where she's just randomly talking, why you wear that hat? I guess you think you look good in it. The minute she starts talking about her little legs,
These are great little legs.
I'm done. After that, she doesn't say anything. After the better than 10, 100, 10, 200 talk, there's nothing else for her to say. She brings nothing to the plot. At one point, she does whistle and flip off a cop to get him from riding or arresting the snowman. But she's worthless in this movie, not needed. And she really brought the movie down for me. I mean, I wanted Burt to be riding by himself because there's not a bigger fan of Burt than Burt. So there you go. All right, so let's move on, Blake, to the ugly. I'll let you go first. Who is the ugliest person in this movie?
Well, there's a lot of candidates in this one, Ronnie. I mean, you got a movie that takes place in the South in the 70s, but I'm going to go with one of the more prominent characters. I'm going to go Little Enos Burdett. You can't be short, have hair like that with a mustache, and have a nose that's looking up. That just can't happen. I mean, you're ugly. He's ugly as
Edit. So the scenes with him and Burt Reynolds at the beginning of it, it ain't never happened. Hot. Watch your mouth, little lady.
How much money do these boys have?
All I know is he rolls him off enough $100 bills that he goes and buys a $7,600 Trans Am. Because I looked it up. I think Trans Am in 1970, whatever this was, 76, whatever it was. I think it was like $7,600. I may be off a little bit. But
Speedy car.
Speedier
than that.
Mine, I had two choices. My initial choice, Blake, was Grave Robber. Whenever I saw him, I saw the hairline and the acne and all that. But then I watched this movie like 8 times in preparation of this video. And after watching it, I noticed this guy.
Oh,
one of the truckers when they do the convoy at the end of it that helps them escape the cops. And he looks like the guy from the meme that's like pointing back here and there's a tornado behind him. He's like, ooh, that's what I thought this guy was. So he, not only is he ugly, he's got greasy hair. He looks half edit, and he's got this hat. I'm not even sure this is a hat. I think this might be like an oven mitt that he put on top of his head. So I don't know what's going on right there, but this is the ugliest guy in the movie to me.
10-4 hot pants, we copy.
Let go of the button. So, Blake.
Hey, Bandit, this is Little Beaver.
This is a silver-tongued devil. We got a big bad Smokey report out there for you.
You are a silver-tongued devil.
You brought up where they get the beer from earlier today when we was on the phone, and you had a great point.
Yeah, they ride into this ghost town, Ronnie. There's not one car there. There's not one person there. Wonder what they do around here for fun. Oh, probably sit around, watch the cars rust. And then they break into this warehouse, and as someone who's in the industry, they load this beer in the truck without wrapping it, and then Snowman drives 100 miles an hour back to Georgia. All that shit was busted when they got back to the racetrack, Ronnie.
Well, I guess the beer being busted doesn't matter. It was the whole act of them getting back in 28 hours. And at the end of it, they get a helicopter on them. And the bandit's like, Christ, we're not going to make it. Because she's like, that's how it feels like, Bo, did you anticipate all this? He goes, no. And he goes, Snowman, G did. We ain't going to make it. We ain't going to make this one. And that's when the Snowman takes charge and runs through the roadblock, and they get to the Southern Classic. They run out there in the middle of the track because little Enos is like, Daddy, you finna have your day ruined.
Daddy, you about to have your evening ruined for you.
And he jumps into a Cadillac, and they get the hell out of there. And I don't know. There's just so I'm like you though. They robbed that place of the beer. There's so many scenes that we can talk about. This movie's great. And when you talk about Jerry Reed getting his ass beat by the bikers in the bar, he took a damn hell of a beating.
These guys spent probably $100,000 for Coors Beer. If you break it down, Ronnie, I mean, they're going to pay out 80 grand. We know they probably gave him 10 grand, you know, to with the Trans Am and all the other expenses. And then after Snowman and Bandit break into that warehouse and make a huge mess, they're like, you know, we should really do something about the money.
Leave a note and tell him to bill Big Enos Burdett. He never leaves a note though. He don't write it. He's like trying to spell Burdett, and he's all hell with it. But these guys have a ton of money. You were asking your question earlier, how much money these guys have. Obviously, they're millionaires. They got plenty of money that they're making this bet, and they get nothing in return for it. It's not like if the Bandit loses, he has to come drive for the Burdettes. That they have nothing to gain from making this bet other than to pay off $80,000 to whoever can do it. So they're just like making people, these guys are in it for the rush, in it for, you know, the victory, trying to prove people wrong.
Hey, here's a thought too, Ronnie. Do you think they even get that beer, or do the cops get there and confiscate it?
Well, the cops probably got there and confiscated it. So, I mean, it's not like I said, I think the beer is secondary to everything. It was just trying to prove that the Bandit
could be done.
Yeah, they couldn't do this. So the movie ends with them saying double or nothing, and they're heading up to Boston for some clam chowder. Spoiler alert. That's not what part 2 was about. That's probably what part 2 should have been about, but it wasn't. That's Smokey and the Bandit, Blake. That's the good, bad, and the ugly. Anything else?
This movie's on Netflix. If you hadn't seen it in a while, please go check it out.
Yeah,
it is awesome.
If you're one of the people that are too snobbish to go watch a Southern movie, watch Smokey and the Bandit. If you're having a bad day, watch Smokey and the Bandit. It's closing in on my top 6 of all time, Blake. I've got so many movies in my top 5 right now of all time. It's unbelievable. In the comments, guys, hit us. What's your good? What's your bad? Who is your ugly from Smokey and the Bandit? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, hit us up on Patreon if you want to help support the show. Anything else, Blake?
I think this is like the 17th movie that's in your top 5.
There are a lot of movies, Blake, in my top 5, and it's getting really crowded.
Oh, hey, do you want to play the game where we recast Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see here.
Can I go first, or you want to go first? Who's going to be your bandit?
I'm pretty sure you said you were going first.
All right. Matthew McConaughey would be my bandit.
I had Chris Pratt as my bandit.
That's a good one. Who'd you have for your snowman?
Oh, gosh. Snowman was a good one. Liam Neeson.
Oh, that Liam Neeson as your snowman?
Yeah, older, rugged.
Yeah, who could be my snowman? Let's see. It would have to be a country actor, or could do
what? What if Liam Neeson was Sheriff Justice and he showed that side that we've never seen before?
Oh, that would be fantastic. Who could be my snowman? Okay. You want me to be crazy with this, Blake?
Yeah.
Because I think he would do it. Robert De Niro would be my snowman. You tell me he can't do a country accent. All he's got to do is sit in the car and get beat up one time. He don't have to be age appropriate to Matthew McConaughey. Snowman, Robert De Niro.
That's pretty good, Ronnie. That's pretty good. I think for my Sheriff Justice, I'm going Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan would be a good one.
AKA Negan from Walking Dead.
I'm going for my Sheriff Justice. I think I want to go. Oh, my Sheriff Justice would be Danny McBride. He would be Buford T. Justice.
That's a good one.
And then I think my junior would be somebody like Zac Efron. And then you can make the chick way younger that the bandit picks up.
Zendaya.
Is that the one from Spider-Man?
Probably.
No surfboards.
Jenny Ortega is the bandit. Jenny Ortega is the bandit.
That's what most of these YouTubers would do right now. Edit. All right, that's it, guys. Smokey Bandit, Good, Bad, and Ugly. See you later, Blake.